coaches. Today, before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, CoachPad. No matter if you draw scout cards by hand or use a program on your computer, the CoachPad will give you back time by never stuffing a binder again before heading out to practice. First 13.3-inch electronic device allowing coaches to clearly display scout cards outdoors in the sun has been a game changer for programs this past fall and those currently planned all across the country. This new technology allows coaches to coach and not the monotonous task of stuffing and dealing with binders on the practice field. Check out the CoachPad and CoachPad Mini on thecoachpad.com. Please make sure you check out our sponsors, our affiliates, and here is another episode of the Gap Down Backer podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Gap Down Backer podcast. Today we have a fantastic guest, another friend of John Arnett, the offensive line coach at Little Cypress-Mauriceville in Texas. Chris Coates. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you having me on, man. This is awesome.
No problem. A friend of John's is a friend of the channels, as I always say. He's a good guy, and we'll talk about John later. But I mean, kind of first, before we get to any of that, okay, do you want to kind of give your background, how you ended up at Little Cypress?
Sure, man. I grew up here, and I'm in the southeastern part of Texas, down by Beaumont, Texas. I grew up in Jasper, which is north of here, probably about an hour. I grew up there, played football there. My offensive line coach was Jack Alvarez at Jasper High School at the time. He's gone on to do great things as a head coach, won a state championship at Ennis, and now he's at Cuero down in the Valley. I played for him there. I started 2 years there, and then I played college football in Arkansas at Henderson State University, a Division II school. I played 3 years there, and then I left there and went to the Marine Corps for 4 years. In the Marine Corps for 4 years. I got out, went back to school. I knew I wanted to be a coach. Then that's when I was in the Marine Corps is when I decided I wanted to coach, and just went back to school at A&M Commerce, and my eligibility was up. So I had to get my foot in the door some way. And I started my last year of school. I was a video GA. I did the end zone shot for the defense at practice, and I did the end zone shot in the game. And so I got started that way, and just so happened one of the coaches that was working there as a defensive coordinator, David Gibbs, he was from Jasper, and he asked me if I was going to be a high school coach. I said, yes, sir. And so he got me on with Thomas Brooks, was the head coach at Jasper at the time, and is my mentor. He's a really great coach, well-known in Texas. I started with him there. I was just a freshman and JV coach my first year, and then my second year I was a varsity defensive ends coach, and then I just went from there. From there I went to Manor for a year as the offensive line coach at Manor, and then I came back to Southeast Texas at Warren for 2 years with Kevin Barbay. I was his offensive line coach. He called the offense there, and then from there I went to Kirbyville, Texas for 5 years with Greg Neese, a great head coach. He's a head coach at Anahuac now. Really smart offensive coach. He was an offensive coordinator for Jack Alvarez when Jack was there. And I learned a lot from him. We ran like a multiple offenses. We based out of the wing tee, and we ran some spread too. And he let me call the plays for about a year, 2 years. And then he left and went to Newton and was offensive coordinator at Newton, won a couple state championships there. And I went to Westbrook, and that's when I got with Coach Peavy. My current head coach, and my offensive coordinator, Jeff Bro. He's really good. He's a great offensive mind, great play caller. He was a O-line coach when he was an assistant coach. He was mainly coached in college he played over he's from Louisiana. He played over at Nicholls State and coached at McNeese, was O-line coach at McNeese and at Henderson State up in Arkansas. And then went to high school for a year at Winnie East Chambers, and then went back into college at Lamar. And then he got the job at Westbrook, and he's really good. He's really helped me in my career as an offensive line coach. I've learned so much from him, just about all on play and like the run game and really in pass protection. That's where I was weak as an O-line coach, and I still need a lot of work to do there. But when Coach Peavy got the job at Little Cypress, he asked me to go, and Jeff was going, so I said, "Yeah, man, I'm on board." So they were, we got here, they were 1-7 the year before, and the kids really bought into what we wanted to do into our spread scheme on the offensive side of the ball and what we do. And we had a good year last year. We're really senior heavy. The seniors bought in, they led, and they just wanted to play. We ended up going 11-3. We went 4 rounds deep in the playoffs. So it was a really great year for us and those kids. I'm glad to be here with Coach Peavy and Coach Bro. They're great coaches, and we have a really great staff. So that's my background.
Kind of going into it, I mean, me and you've talked, and I mean, you've kind of been studying wide zone and just kind of the direction you guys have kind of gone to a point. And then we both kind of watched the Mirabel clinic when I was in Oregon, and there's a lot of, I think, good nuggets in there. I mean, before you kind of get into kind of how you guys won wide zone, because obviously Coach has a presentation for those that are watching this. Kind of what did you take away before we get into it, the Mirabel wide zone clinic, and kind of how have you adapted that to what you're doing?
Well, like you said, we just switched to wide zone. We were running, we called it outside zone. We were trying to hit it off tackle. And what we liked about the wide zone, what Coach Mirabel does is that it really can hit the aiming point for the running back, is the tight end's rear end. And so we really liked how we don't get a cutback like we do on inside zone, a rollback like we do on inside zone, but we still get one from the C gap all the way back to the front side A gap, maybe sometimes the backside A gap, depending on how well a job we do on the backside. But we liked we liked the freedom it gives us with the wide zone. We felt like we were too hamstringed with the outside zone, trying to keep it outside. And now it fits better with our inside zone scheme. And it's just easy. The coaching cues and the philosophy for it that Coach Mirabel does is easy for kids to pick up. It's easy for high school kids. That's what I liked about it. And I just liked it because it's what he teaches what he taught when he was at Oregon, and probably what he's going to teach now at Miami. And shoot, it's the same kind of stuff that the pros are teaching too at places like, at the 49ers. He had some clips of the 49ers running the same type of the same scheme of wide zone. And so we like that. And I think the kids like it. It gives them confidence knowing that, hey, I'm running something that a D1 school is running, or even a pro team is running, Yeah. Just it's all dependent upon terminology and what you want to call it and stuff.
Now, yeah, to your point, like I think it's very the skills he's teaching is very transferable.
Yes.
Like, I mean, you watch some schemes, you're just like, my kid's not athletic enough to do that, or I don't have the kids to run that, or something like that. Whereas his is, I mean, 99% of it's footwork and really shoulder / hand placement. I mean,
yes.
God, what was the term he used? Knee through the crotch.
Yep.
And you're really trying to get your head to the opposite armpit, pretty much, essentially. I mean, I thought it was just very easily transferable as long as you can get your kids to get offline. Now, I'm gonna let you kind of go through some of your presentation here, and so we can kind of go back and forth. So, I'll let you kind of get started, and then we'll kind of go back and forth with it.
Okay. All right. Well, like Coach Bandstra said, my name's Chris Coates. I'm the offensive line coach here. You can see it on the screen here. Little Cypress-Mauriceville High School. We're the Bears. We're in Orange, Texas, and this is our offense at a glance. We're a spread run first team. We utilize multiple formations, probably like everyone else does. We utilize the tight end. He can be on the ball, or he can be back in the H-back position, kind of in a wing, splitting the side of the ball, the tackle's leg with his crotch, in that position. And our three main run plays are inside zone, wide zone, and our power read series. As far as multiple formations go, we can get in true spread, doubles, trips, to tight end trips. And one of our favorite formations that we've really used the last couple of years a lot when we were at Westbrook, and now that we're here at LCM is 12 empty, which is one back, two tight end stuff, and it really gives people problems. So that's our offense at a glance. And now our zone principles. If our main run play is inside zone, and then our second best run play that we ran a lot is of course wide zone. The first thing we're going to do that I coach my offensive line teach them to do is we're going to ID the front structure, whether it's a odd or even front, and then we're going to ID the mic to the side of the call side, the play side. And the first thing they're going to ask themselves, the O-line's going to ask themselves, are you covered or are you uncovered? And then we're going to make our combo calls on the inside zone. We call them combo. We combo it, and then once we get into our wide zone, now they become slips just because the angle, all the angles change and everything with the back's path and stuff. But the principles I use that on wide zone that I got from Coach Mirabel, like we were talking about, and I also got some stuff from a couple years ago during the pandemic, a clinic that was at Baylor. Coach Ferentz that's at Iowa was talking there, and he was talking about wide zone, and I've adapted some of his terminology too. But the goal of wide zone is we're trying to divide the defensive front. Okay, front side, we're pushing the slant. That's the terminology I got from Coach Ferentz. So we're really trying to stretch the front side C, B, all the way to the A gap. We're trying to push that slant with our steps and our blocking angles there. Backside, we're scooping and cutting. When I was playing in the wing T system, when I was in high school, a lot of our plays, we were scooping the backside and we were cutting. So I still use that terminology, even though it's that old. Next, we get to the running back's path. The running back's path is important because we tell our running back, hey, you're aiming at the butt crack of the tight end, whether he's in the H-back position or whether he's on the ball. And with that, you're going to see in the clips coming up. I started with one of the first clips was one of our first games, and it was our first game of the year. And you can see how the running back isn't as patient. He needs to be patient with that path, because if it's not there front side, it's going to cut. He's got the chance to stick his foot in the ground and cut it back if we're doing our job on the backside. Okay. And the running back's path determines the O-line block angles. So our angles will be our aiming point on the play side, and our aiming point is the outside shoulder of that defensive lineman. If you're uncovered, it's the outside shoulder curvature of the armpit of that linebacker that you're working to on the second level. Okay. So next we get to tight end. We're always going to utilize a tight end with it. Tight end is going to be either off or on, like I talked about before. And the main thing for this that I coach my offensive lineman is not, if we get any type of edge pressure, we're not going to be responsible for that like we are in inside zone. Okay. We're not going to be responsible. We're going to recognize that edge pressure, and depending on who we're playing and what they're running, we'll have it'll be in our game plan, how we're going to handle that and the calls that we're going to make. But as far as it, if we look up and see that outside linebacker or a safety coming off the edge, we know the first thing we're going to know is that the line's going to be moving. And other than that, we're not working to that edge pressure. Okay. That's going to be the tight end's responsibility. Okay. So
now I got a question, Coach. Like, yes, for the combo slip calls, what is exact, and I'm not asking for your calls, but what is actually the difference between a combo call and a slip call? Because honestly, that's the first time I've seen the term slip. So okay. I'm just curious.
It's just the two different calls, combos for our inside zone, because we're trying to our blocking demeanor, our posture, we're trying to get a vertical push on inside zone. And like I said before, on wide zone, we're trying to push the slant. We're trying to push the line of scrimmage and get it in a slant on the front side. So we're not going to hang as long as we would on our combo calls. Okay. So it's going to be the same call. Like it's going to be the same combo call, whether it's an ace or a deuce or whatever, but we just know we're slipping it. We're moving faster. Okay. And because it's wide zone, the backside guy knows, hey, you got to get on your horse, reach and run right now, because that front side offensive lineman is chipping that guy. He's slipping him. He's just going to try to turn his play side shoulder as much as he can, with his eyes on his second level backer who he's working to, and he's got to go, depending on the tempo of that guy.
All right, I get it, Coach. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So going with principle number 5 here, going back to the covered and uncovered. So the next stuff I'm going to be talking about is all the stuff I got from Coach Mirabel. If the O-line is covered, he's working an angle to get, like you were talking about before, to get his backside knee through his crotch and his backside hand through the sternum of that D lineman. Okay. If we're uncovered, depending on what the front is, the uncovered lineman's got a 3-step decision. He's either going to take it over, knock it over, or climb. His eyes off the snap of the football are going to be in his gap. If he sees any piece of that defensive lineman that's covering his adjacent lineman, he's going to knock it over. If he sees him all the way in the gap, he's going to take it over. If it's nothing's there, he's going to work that angle through that near hip of that D lineman. Okay, and climb to the second level to his backer. On the backside, we're scooping and cutting, and we can fold it too. We can G it on the backside, fold it, just depending on the technique of that backside defensive lineman.
How much did you guys actually use the fold part last year?
Not very much, because Coach Bro, Coach Bro's big, and while I like working for him, he's not going to do anything that we don't usually do. You know, we came in, we didn't really have an off season, so to speak. At the end of last year, you know, a true off season where we work football at the end, you know, in the period where we're working we work a lot of technique and working that fold. If we got a 3 backside, say, and we're running wide zone right, a lot of times, depending on where that linebacker's playing, you're going to have a lot better angle and a lot better line of force to that linebacker if you fold that backside 3 rather than slipping it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
This is a diagram against a 4-2 box here. So like we said before, are you covered or uncovered? So we're running wide zone right here. And the right tackle's coach, he's got a 5 technique. So he's working, his angle is through the outside, his aiming point and angle is through the outside shoulder curvature of the armpit of that defensive end. He's gonna, I really got away from really teaching steps. I just tell him, hey, we're gonna reach and run, because I don't want to spend too much time getting them confused on, I got to take this step, and then they become all robotic and stuff. We rep it, the crap out of it in off season, just reaching and running, getting on that angle. And working that angle, but he's going to work through his angle right here, through his aiming point, and just push the slant right here. So if we could take the line of scrimmage and push it on a slant.
Yeah, no, I get you. I think that's one thing I took away from his clinic too is, I mean, he mentioned over and over again, he doesn't care what the front side foot does. Like, right. I mean, it is all about where in the end your knee needs to be in the crotch. It's not, like what steps you take is what steps you take. And like I said, right. And in any game anyways, like if he's taking, say, this is probably a bad example, but if he's taking a lateral step and the dude's just beating him across the face, I mean, you might take more of a bucket step, lose a little ground to be able to get him if he's just that faster than you. Like, right. I mean, I think you're going just footwork anyway, so why overcompensate it to begin with? Right.
I'm totally with you, man. So, I skipped the tight end. The tight end's responsible for whatever's outside on the edge. So he's working to this outside backer. If he fights to keep outside contained, he's just going to wash him to the sideline. And if he fights inside, then he's going to pin him inside. The tackle right here, like I said, he's working his angle and he's just going to push to that shoulder. We're not, one reason we switched to wide zone is because we were with the outside zone, and it might have been bad coaching by me, over coaching. Seems like our front side guys, especially against a 4-man front, even front right here, they're trying to hook those guys, and we're really not trying to do that. Okay, if that defensive end wants to fight to keep outside contained like he usually gets taught to do, then we're just going to wash that guy to the sideline and stretch that B gap open. And same thing with the guard right there. He's working the same angle, the same aiming point as the tackle versus that three, as the tackle is on that end with his three technique. He's going to push that. He's going to push that shoulder and drive it. And then the center right here, like I said, he's uncovered. So he's got the three-step decision. Either take it over, knock it over, or climb. He's going to work through his A gap. His angle is right through that three techniques near hip, or where it used to be off the snap, because that guy's probably going to be moving. And we're working that angle. Now we're working that aiming point, outside shoulder, curvature of the armpit of that linebacker. And again, we're just pushing it. We're pushing that aiming point, that we're driving that line of force. And then the backside right here, it's a really hard block when that guy, it's really hard when that guy, he's in a, I call it a 2-eye. So most people call it a 1. When he's in that 2-eye position right there in that backside A gap, we're taking our steps. We're making it look like I coach him. We're taking our step. You're reaching and running. You're making him think you're going high, and then we're getting our head across that play side hip and throwing and cutting. Yeah. Backside tackles working the three-step decision up to his backside linebacker. So now, what I was talking about earlier, if that guy's a 3 technique here, then we could G it. We could fold it, okay, make our fold call, and we can fold it up to that backside linebacker just because we got a better angle. And if we do our job on the front side, we get this guy cut down, the cutback's the running back can stick his foot in the ground, cut it back right there, right off that cut block by the backside guard and the backside tackle on that linebacker. Now we really like running it against a 3-man. When we face a 4-man front, just depending on what they do, how they play, how good they are up front, the technique that they use, we can still run the wide zone, our wide zone play. A lot of times we'll go to 12 and empty, could let our quarterback run it and just go wide zone Q. But we really like running it against this odd front, against these 3-4 defenses. In fact, that's the defense we see the most. And it's most of the teams that we face when they're in this odd front, it's going to be multiple. They're going to give you a 3-2 box, a 3-3 stack look. As much as we run the football, we won't have any less than 7 players in the box, defensive players in the box. So nothing changes. It's the same principles. Okay. I just tell my guys to make it easy for them. If we're going wide zone right here, it's the right guard and right tackle. It's U2 for these two, play side in and backer. It's U2 center and backside guard for nose and back, these two, nose and backside backer. If that guy, usually a lot of times we're playing, and you probably know too, that backside defensive end, a lot of times it's going to be a 4-eye. And so we're scooping and cutting that guy on the backside. Now the guards are the uncovered. They got the 3-step decision. Okay. If they see any piece of that guy, they're going to knock it over. If he's all the way in the gap, we're going to take it over and let our tackle climb. The tackle's got to be patient though, especially when that backer's playing it more in the box a little bit. You're going to see in one of the first clips, we totally miss that front side linebacker. They're playing a true 3-2. That, that guy's a 30 backer in there, and we totally missed the linebacker, which if we got him, if the tackle just had his eyes up and stays on track and washes that linebacker out, we're going to cut right behind him, and it's probably going to be a touchdown. But that's the diagrams for, evens front and an odd front. This first one is the first game of the year. We're in our empty look here, and we move the tight end. We move the tight end over, and we're going wide zone right, and the quarterback's running it.
Now, how much, because you guys mentioned you're a multiple offense team anyways, but how much did you how much formationally and shifting and motioning wise, especially with the wide zone, did you mess with? Because I think that's kind of one thing I noticed as I've watched wide zone film over the past 2 years, is just how, there's a lot of window dressing with it a lot of times.
Oh yeah, we window dress a lot. It's a tendency if we just line up with the tight end and run it to the tight end side. So, yeah. We're going to put the tight end in different positions and move him over. We do it a lot. Okay. We were just talking yesterday when I let my offensive coordinator know that I was doing your podcast, we started talking about the wide zone and watching what we did in the season. And he was talking about, hey, the next time if I speak anywhere, I'm going to be talking about our 12 empty series, because this formation right here is in the personnel is an empty tight end, and it just gives guys fits, especially with is spreading them out and everything you can do out of it, But yes, we do a lot of window dressing.
Okay.
So we're doing it right here. So we're moving the tight end over, and then we're going to go wide zone right. So there's that outside backer is going to run blitz, and the O-line knows right now, that play side tackle, the right tackle knows right now, we're not working to that pressure. That's the tight end's responsibility. So right here, the play side tackle, play side guard are working together. It's you two for these two. It's center, backside guard, you two for these two. And we should be scooping and cutting that backside. That guy's a 4 to a 4-eye right there. So the play side guard does he's a little slow off the ball, but he's on his angle. He sees that guy. He knows right now I'm taking that guy over. As soon as that 4, everybody knows 4s are usually B gap players. As soon as that guy flashes into my gap, I know right now I'm taking it over. Now the tackle's too thick right here.
Yeah.
His step can just be a settle and Thomas step to the crotch, just because of that defensive end's technique. He's playing on him. He's a head up 4 to a 4-eye. So he don't really need to open his shoulders and hips that much, but he's a little too thick. And there's the linebacker. We totally missed him right here. My fault. I probably overcoaching or undercoaching. It's the first game of the year. But if we get to that guy, like I was talking about earlier, and wash him out to the sideline, there's nobody. Now, my center I had this year, he was a senior, a 3-year starter, did a really good job. He knows right now it's a slip. He's chipping that play side shoulder. Even though that guy's a 4 on him, I'm taking my step. Backside guard step is pretty good. I coach that guy. When you're reaching and running right there, you need to be in your adjacent lineman's hip pocket. Okay, we want to be hip to hip and shoulder to shoulder if we can. It's really hard to cut that nose, because a lot of times you might get a hollow chop block call, especially down here with the way they changed the rules for cutting. But he needs to get his hands inside. But we reach that nose, and you can see the center throwing and cutting for that backside linebacker. Now the backside tackle is wrong. He got a minus for this play, because he should be scooping and cutting that backside defensive end.
Yeah.
There's a wide look. One thing I don't think we do it right here, but we will RPO. We won't RPO the front side of it. Of course, we're blocking and running off depending on what coverage they're in. But on the backside, we will run a backside RPO, either bubble or slant, depending on what we get. So we're going wide zone right, and now we're in 11. Or no, we're not in 11. We are in 11 personnel, but we're going tackle over. This is our tackle over look. So that we're going tackle over right. So we move our left tackle over, and our tight ends to the backside. So he's just got the tight end. The coaching for the tight end is the same as it would be for the backside tackle. You're scooping and cutting. So now we got a 4-man look here. We got a 6 technique over the over tackle. So they know right now it's you two for these two. I'm working a solo right here. I'm covered. Center's got the 3-step decision. Backside guard's covered.
Yep.
He's scooping, working. Tight end is scooping and cutting on the backside too.
Now, when you're teaching this to them, how much are you, like, when you're installing it to your line, how much are you talking about, okay, this is their front, this is most likely where you're going to go? Because, like, I mean, if for me, like, from front ID's perspective, because I coached defense for a while, like, if I'm looking at this and I'm like the center, I'm like, obviously I'm going to step, say we're running wide zone right here. I'm going to step right in case that 3 technique
right
into my gap, but most likely I'm probably not going to have him, because if he's in the B gap, he's probably a B gap defender. How much do you actually have that conversation to help increase their football IQ do you have with your offensive line?
Well, it all goes in the game planning first and foremost. Of course, what front they're running, what are their tendencies on whatever down, what kind of pressure are they bringing. I try not to overcoach them too much. I just tell them, hey, you got the 3-step decision, center. That guy's a 3 technique. You got the 3-step decision. You're working through his near hip. If you see any piece of him, I'm going to knock it over. If he's all the way in that gap, I'm taking it over. So he's like, his angle right there is right through, it's right through that guy's hip, looking for this linebacker scraping. So.
Okay.
So we're going in out of the tackle overlook. And right now that the right tackle is not, he's too flat. He's not flat enough. He should be taking over that 6 and letting the over tackle chip and run the slip up to number 50 there. That's who we would ID as the Mike. 50 is the Mike. He should really be taking over and driving. He's on the wrong shoulder. He should be trying to work to that outside shoulder, curve the armpit. Place our guard it's not bad. That tackle just kind of sits in there, is lazy. So, he's working through his aiming point. I'd really like that center to get over there and knock him over to that guard and let that guard drive that line of force. But he's doing what he's supposed to. He's reaching and cutting. On the backside, we're wrong. That backside guard should be cutting that guy all the way. We should be taking our steps, working through place, trying to get our backside knee through crotch, backside of the hand through sternum, and then cutting through that place side hip. So it's really because of the tackle, the right tackle gets beat right there. It should be a bust and a tackle for loss, but our running back is a pretty special guy. He can make something out of nothing, which is what he does right there. All right, this is towards the end of the season, and our running back right here. Now we're going in wide zone left. Pardon me, and. Right here, this is example of patience. He sees the cutback right here. So on the front side, we're taking our steps. We're trying to get front side or backside knee through crotch, backside hand through sternum. It's an odd front. So it's play side guard and tackle for the play side end, play side linebacker. Backside guard does a great job. He's in the backside. He's working the aiming point on that center. On that nose guard, he's trying to get to that play side shoulder, get backside knee through crotch, backside hand through sternum. Okay. I like to see him a little bit more physical right there and not let that space get created between him and that nose guard. Center's chipping up, and he should just keep going right there. He's looking that's not his backer. His eye, if you can see his eyes right there, looking at number 7. I'm working up and looking for that Willie backer to flow, which he doesn't. So if that happens, I'm just going to keep working through my A gap extended right there. Because that safety that drops down into the box is going to come back out and try to get in on the play, number 10. If we stay in our gap, right, if the center stays in his A gap extended right there, he could have a possible chance of picking that guy off. You never want to turn your back to the play, which is what we do right there. But we do a great job on the front side. We could be a little bit more aggressive at the point of attack, but we're going to wash it. And like I said, the running back, we're halfway through the season. We're at the end of the regular season right here, and he's got it down. Patience, pushing his path to the butt crack of that tight end, and then sticks his foot in the ground, cuts it all the way back, cuts it back.
That's really well done, Coach. I just was looking at each one of them over and over again, especially that combo on 42. 42 wanted no part of that combo. I mean, that's just good technique. I mean,
They want to, that's what we tell them. If they want to fight outside, just take them where they want to go faster than they want to get there.
yep.
So we're
I think
watching
that's
it.
great.
Running
Offensive
back
line
sticks
wise,
his foot in the ground and hits his head on the goalpost.
I mean, yeah. I mean, to your point, really the main thing to nitpick about is turning your back by the center. But outside that, I mean, offensive line, that's pretty dang good. So
All right, this is in the first round of the playoffs. So we're running again, and you can see right here, this team was multiple. They're an odd front structure, that 3-man front. Tucked those linebackers in, those outside backers into the box a lot, and would run that little pirate stunt, which is what they do right here. And we're just too soft at the point of attack right here. Like the play side guard, he's where he's supposed to be, but we're just so soft right there and let that guy play through us. So now we're in 12 personnel, got 2 tight ends. We got a tight end on the ball to the right, and our second tight end in the wing right here to the play side. Go to the end zone shots. You see it better. So I remember this, that was one of their favorite stunts to run, that little pirate stunt between the outside backer and that end. The end's going to go out, even though he's in a 4. And we coach him a lot. Hey, if that guy's a 4, protect your inside. Well, right here he goes out, outside backer comes in. Play side guard should know right now. As soon as I see my gap open, first off, he needs to remember I've got the 3-step decision: either take it over, knock it over, or climb. So I should be climbing and expecting something to fill that gap from the second level. And then those slants, center does a great job working his track, working his line of force, driving his angle, backside knee through crotch, backside hand through sternum through that outside shoulder right there. We kind of got a little stunt from the backer. I don't know what's going on with this backer out here, if it's really a run blitz going through the backside B gap or not, but that backside tackle's wrong. He's too vertical. He needs to get flat. He's got a loose 5, kind of a tight 5 right there. So right there versus that technique on the backside defensive end, he's really got to be working, scooping up to the next level. Looking at this backer, and now his aiming point would be outside shoulder, curvature of the armpit, and I'm working to get my backside knee through his crotch and my backside hand through his sternum, because if he does that, he's going to pick up this backer, fold him backside. It'll give our chance. And we coach them anytime you get like a cross dog. This kind of looks like a cross dog, blitz, stunt, whatever you want to call it. But we're always going to combo. If that happens, we're always going to combo the blitzer, which would be this middle backer right here. So we would just work through him to this guy. So if the right tackle right here would just get on his ankle and work backside knee through crotch, backside hand through sternum, it's going to work out a lot better. And we have a better chance of picking up both of those guys rather than let that guy scrape and run free over the top. It's a pretty good job by the number 2 tight end right here, 34. He played a lot of football, especially when we had a lot of 12 personnel in the game plan. He was our starting middle linebacker also. Really coachable kid. We're going to miss him. He's a senior. So we're going wide zone left again right here. We're on 11 personnel. The play side tackle could be a little bit thicker. I'd like to see him just get a little bit more, chipping that end's outside shoulder. Guard's doing a great job. He gets his backside knee to the crotch. Now just drive that line of force. Center spikes, backside A gap. So we're working that backside slip between the center, backside guard. we get a run blitz right here through the B gap, and the backside tackle totally blows it. I mean, the guy runs through. We should be scooping and cutting that guy. As soon as we see it, we should see it, have our eyes up, play with your eyes.
Yeah.
And see that, scoop and cut it, but we totally miss it. But we do a great job on the front side. So
it goes back to your 3-step decision there. Like,
yeah.
Obviously that end is not threatening your gap. Like, you should be stepping and going, and like I said, obviously, I mean, head's not up. Because otherwise, I mean, your blocking's not horrible. Like I said, I mean, I think I'll say this, watching this, your guards do a pretty good job at stepping and running. Like, I mean,
yeah, they got it. They really understood the reach and run concept, backside knee through crotch, backside hand through sternum. But again, looking back on it and self-scouting, looking back on the season, which we've been doing, I just did a poor job of coaching the backside of our wide zone play. I really undercoached it. I think I was too worried about overcoaching it, and
yeah,
I just got to do a better job. It's going to start with our off-season. Once we start running plays in our off-season, we're really going to just work that. And that's what we do in the off-season. And what I've seen other coaches, O-line coaches do, is they're just working that reach and run with the whole working the backside knee through crotch, backside hand through sternum, working that angle, working, reaching and running through that line of force. The center was he needs to get flatter. Right here, the center should be working up here, and that will free this tackle to this next level safety.
Yeah.
And we'll have a better chance at a better play right there.
Well, like, you don't mind your running back on DB, but again, if you have that right there, I mean, you're just at that point, it's maybe a corner, might make a shoestring tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, yeah, you get the proper angles there, you're scoring.
This was the second round. Again, we're seeing another 3-man front, which, hey, we love it. We like I said before, we love running the wide zone to an odd front, and wow, we get beat at the point of attack right here on the play side. We're going wide zone left, and we're just soft, really soft right there from the play side tackle and play side guard. There's just it looks like, I don't know. It's poor coaching on my part, obviously. What really helps to play out, again, is right here, the center, backside guard slip on that nose. Man, get it. Running back's patient, works through traffic. If you go to the end zone shot, you can see the footwork better. Boom, center work. So again, it's going to be these two, play side guard, play side tackle, for end middle backer. It was really like a 3-3 stack look.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. We should be working these two for these two right here. Center backside guard for nose and Mike backer, and then we're scooping and cutting, working second level to this stack backer here. So play side guard, play side, I think that's one of the reasons it screws them up. Play side guard, play side tackle, that stack, but their stack backer 10 here goes to the tight end, goes to the C gap outside. So that's fine. That's who he's going to take. And the guards just got to knock that guy over. Again, like I said, we're too weak at the point of attack right here. We should really be trying to knock that guy over and then working up. It's a good job, though, again, by the center and backside guard. They take 17 kind of tries to surf it over the top right here. Guard and center they just stay on track. And the backside tackle, again, just poor coaching on my part. I've really got to do a better job of coaching the backside of this play and scooping and cutting that backside defensive end. Now we're in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends. We're going wide zone right. Play side in wants to fight outside. It's not bad by the play side tackle. He's working his line of force. Now where we get beat is on the backside. The nose goes backside A, and our guard, his eyes are wrong. He's got the 3-step decision. I'm either going to take it over, knock it over, or climb. He should be taking it over all the way, and he doesn't. His eyes, if you can see it right there, they flash to that middle backer again, to that stack backer. I'll put it slow-mo it so you can see it. Oop. Right there, his eyes flash to him. And it just gives that guy enough time to beat us through that backside A gap. Tight end does a good job right here. His aiming point's the same. Backside knee through crotch, backside hand through sternum. The guy wants to fight outside. We're just going to wash him, take him where he wants to go faster than he wants to get there. The end tries to fight, keep outside contained. So right guard, play side guard is going to work through his B gap extended right there up to next level. Now he just needs to stay on track and go pee out that little DB, that safety that wants to come play football. Come on, man. Go run through him. The nose really attacks the center, so the center should just keep working his angle through that aiming point, through the play side shoulder, curvature of the armpit. And that, like I said, that backside guard's just got to go. He should be taking it over right now. And the backside tackle is overcoaching on my part. I told him all week that if your linebacker's not stacked and he's outside, just keep your eyes open because he should be scraping, but he really goes outside. So it kind of, my overcoaching caused my tackle to keep his eyes on him. And really, he should just be working right up the hash right there, scooping up through his B gap. And he can pick up that stacked middle linebacker 32 and cut him. This was a big game for us. We tied the school record. I think we'd only been to the LCM had only been to the 3rd round of the playoffs one time before, back in ~97. Okay. So we're playing El Campo. They're a really good football team down in the valley. They're running back. They got 2 good running backs that are highly recruited. One of the running backs is one of the best running backs in the country. Our defense played lots out. I mean, they just sold out, and they were multiple up front. It's a 10-1 defense, multiple looks. And so we had to prepare for the 4-man look, the 3-man look. The O-line did a great job of buying into the game plan and focusing all week of practice, and it paid off for us. So again, right here, we're in our tackle over set. So we're 11 personnel, and we're taking our left tackle over right, wide zone right. So now that's over tackle again. He's got this responsibility as a tight end. He's working backside knee through crotch, backside hand through sternum, through his aiming point, play side shoulder, curvature of the armpit. That guy wants to fight outside. We're just going to turn with him and take him where he wants to go faster than he wants to get there. We're going to drive him all the way across all the way to the wide side of the field right there. But he lets him spin back inside. So So we go to the end zone shot. They run blitz, end up with 2 guys in 1 gap right here. And it works well for us because we're just working. It's a 4. We ID'd it as a 4-man front. 7 was like their dude. Our game plan was, hey, we're gonna ID 7 wherever he's at, and we're gonna work to 7. So right here, the play side tackles thinking I'm working to 7, but as soon as he blitzes right here, okay, this guy ends up in the A gap. He kind of ends up in the same gap. We work and squash it there in the gap, and you'll see the play side tackle just works up and seals that play side backer, and there's a big hole there. If we do a better job on that defensive end outside linebacker, now we got our running back one-on-one with the defensive back, like you said earlier, which is a great matchup.
Yep.
That backside defensive tackle was their defensive line. Their defense is really good. That guy was a load. It's a great job by the backside guard, just working his line, just staying with it, working his line of force. I really like him though to scoop and cut. Just something we got to work on more. All right, we're going 11 personnel. This is the last. I think this is the last play, Coach.
I have 2 questions. Though.
We're going wide zone left. This is where not scooping and cutting backside just kills us right here. They want to try to overplay it and fight to keep gap integrity, in their gap, play side gaps. Okay, fine. We're going to wash it play side. Backside guard does a great job of staying on track. Now they're giving us a 3-man front look. We got a 0 nose. The nose slant, they slant the front. Backside guard does a good job staying on track. Now I'm working backside knee through crotch, backside hand through sternum of that middle linebacker, number 20. We just don't scoop and cut the backside end, and he freaking nails us. If we cut him, you can see it right there. We're gonna divide the defense. We're gonna push the slant, wash it front side. If we get that guy cut down backside, we've got the linebacker sealed and washing him play side. Now again, we're gonna have a 1-on-1 first with that back judge, and then 19 the safety right there. But instead, we don't do our job backside. We don't cut that backside defensive end. So instead of a big explosive 20+ play, we just get a 7-yard gain. That's it. That's our wide zone. There's my contact information right there. If anybody wants to email me for anything, talk ball, you want us to send you something, we'll do it. That's my cell phone number right there, 409-698-8278. I'm down to talk ball if anybody wants to, anytime. I appreciate you, Coach, having me on here.
No problem. I had 2 questions for you because
okay.
One, I noticed the offensive line, your guards were in 3 points and your tackles were mostly in 2 points. Just out of curiosity, what is your reasoning behind that?
We tell the tackles we'd like for them to be in a 2-point stance, but if they want to go 3-point, they can, just as long as they're not getting a 2-point stance when it's a run play, when they're in pass pro, and a 3-point when they're in run play and tipping stuff off like that. We just, with our style of offense and our spread offense, I think it just gives us I like the tackles to be in a 2-point stance. I guess there's no really rhyme or reason for it other than when I got with Coach Bro, he's like, hey, I want the tackles in a 2-point stance and want the guards in a 3-point stance, Yeah.
And then my last question for you, and I told you this was going to come. Do you have any appropriate John Arnett stories for that you could add to the podcast? Because there's everybody's always got something, and they could be funny, they could be serious. Like, I mean, I think he broke somebody's like leg or tore their ACL or something. I think who was it? I think it was Chris Smith or Zeke Dixon, one of the two. So
Dude, you know what, man? I don't go back that far with Arnett. Now that's when Arnett and I think Chris Smith were playing together at SFA.
Yeah. See, but everybody knows the story. See.
I don't go back that far with John. I first met John, I think, I can't remember when. The only stories I got with John, me and John, we used to call each other like girls on Friday nights in the off season and stay up till like 4 a.m. talking about everything from football to freaking philosophy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if anybody out there knows John Arnett, but John Arnett is a really good, he can paint. Okay. He's a really good artist. He can paint really good. He's got some, since he's now coaching up at Pampa up in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
And he's painted some sunset scenes that are amazing. And he painted his dad was in the Marine Corps, like I was. And so I was in the first Marine Division when I was in the Marine Corps, and he painted me the first Marine Division emblem, which is, a diamond with the big 1 in it and Guadalcanal on the 1, because they fought at Guadalcanal. But John's a really good artist and just an all around good dude. I mean, I love John. Shoot, I wouldn't be on here if it wasn't for him. So.
And then that's perfect. See, I don't see. Not everybody needs it. He almost broke my leg or something like that. I'll take he's a painter. That's good enough. So, coaches, please. Obviously, his contact information is on our screen. If you're listening, either turn on the video or follow him on Twitter, because his Twitter will be in the bio. Please make sure you give him a follow. If you want to reach out to him, like I said, Coach got back to me. I mean, within a matter of minutes of texting him. Like I said, Coach is a good dude. And like I said, they do some really good stuff there. They're doing a good job at turning that program around and kind of building something special down there. And then also we mentioned, I mean, obviously we sat here and talked, and I kind of just let him go because I was mostly focused on the offensive line play there. But I mean, we mentioned two good resources in this. Obviously the Mirabel clinic that's on YouTube. And then the the Farron's clinic from the DeLone clinic. Please check those out too if you just want more. I mean, but again, reach out to Coach. I mean, Coach does a great job. Like, share, subscribe, check out our sponsors and affiliates, especially CoachPad for me. That'd be greatly appreciated. And then that's another episode of the Gap Down Backer podcast.